Religious countries. What are they like? Welcome to a brand new series of videos where we look at what it's like to live in highly religious countries. We'll be looking into the lives of everyday people, into the factors that affect their well-being. These are things like access to healthcare, education, and social justice. Also focusing on wealth distribution, corruption, crime, and infrastructure quality, covering things like roads and public transport. All of these things combined give us a good picture of what it's like to live in a country as an ordinary citizen. Now, let's get started with the first country that we're covering. Number 1. The Philippines. Covering an area of 120,000 square miles with a population of 115 million people, Philippines is an island nation and the 12th most populous in the world. Consisting of over 7,000 islands, the Philippines has a hot and humid tropical climate. It's a beach lover's paradise and offers ample opportunities for swimming, surfing, snorkeling, and diving. The Philippines is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where many earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur. Being situated on several tectonic plates make it prone to seismic activity and the presence of numerous fault lines. As a result, there are very frequent earthquakes and volcanic eruptions across much of the Philippines. History. The earliest inhabitants of the Philippines were hunter-gatherers who arrived via land bridges during the last ice age. By around 3000 BCE, Austronesian-speaking people had migrated to the islands, bringing with them advanced agricultural practices and seafaring skills. The archipelago was home to various independent polities and trading communities, especially with Chinese, Indian, and Arab traders. In 1521, Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines and claimed the islands for Spain. But it wasn't until 1565 that the Spanish established a permanent settlement in Cebu. The Spanish colonization led to the spread of Christianity, the establishment of Manila as the capital, and the creation of a feudal system. This was known as the encomienda system. It was used to control and organize the indigenous population and their labor. Some of the key aspects of the encomienda were: 1. Land grants, where the Spanish authorities granted large tracts of land, called encomiendas, to Spanish settlers, soldiers, and officials. These land grants included the right to collect tribute and labor from the indigenous people living on the land. 2. Tribute and labor. The indigenous people, known as Indios, were required to pay tribute to the encomenderos, holders of the encomiendas, in the form of goods, crops, or labor. This system often led to exploitation and abuse of the indigenous population. 3. Conversion to Christianity. One of the primary goals of the encomienda system was to convert the indigenous people. Encomenderos were responsible for ensuring that the Indios received religious instruction and were baptized. 4. Economic exploitation. The encomienda system allowed the Spanish to extract wealth from the Philippines through the labor and resources of the indigenous population. This system contributed to the economic development of the Spanish colony, but also led to significant social and economic inequalities. The encomienda system was eventually replaced, but its legacy of exploitation and inequality has had a lasting impact on Philippine society. The Philippine Revolution against Spanish rule began in 1896, and in 1898, the Spanish-American War resulted in Spain ceding the Philippines to the United States. This was followed by the Philippine-American War, with the Philippines eventually becoming a U.S. colony. The Philippines gained Commonwealth status in 1935, and after World War II, they gained full independence from the United States. Since then, the Philippines experienced political and economic challenges, including the dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos, with the People Power Revolution of 1986, restoring democracy. The country has continued to face issues related to governance, economic development, and social justice. Political structure. The Philippines has a democratic government, a constitutional republic with a presidential system. The president is elected through direct election by the citizens of the Philippines for a 6-year term. The president appoints and presides over the cabinet and officials of various national government agencies and institutions. Congress is composed of the Senate and the House of Representatives, with members elected to a 3-year term. Judicial authority is vested in the Supreme Court, composed of a Chief Justice and 14 associates, appointed by the President from nominations submitted by the Judicial and Bar Council. Attempts to change the government to a federal, parliamentary government have been made since the Ramos administration of 1992. Philippine politics tends to be dominated by well-known families, such as political dynasties or celebrities. Corruption is significant, attributed by some historians, to the Spanish colonial period's padrino system. This padrino system, also known as the Sistemang Padrino, is a value system rooted in Filipino culture and politics, which traces its origins to the Spanish colonial period. The term padrinos means godfather in Spanish, and the system revolves around patron-client relationships where individuals gain favor, promotion, or political appointments through nepotism or cronyism, rather than merit. As a result of rampant corruption, a significant portion of public funds get diverted to politicians and other wealthy individuals or families, leaving the government shortchanged to make material improvements to the country's infrastructure. The Roman Catholic Church still exerts considerable influence in political affairs, although in theory there's a constitutional provision for the separation of church and state. Religion in the Philippines. A whopping 96% of Filipinos think religion is important in their lives. 89% of people are Christians, including 79% of the Roman Catholic faith. Islam accounts for around 6.5%. Metrics for well-being. Life expectancy. The average life expectancy is 69 years. 149 countries have a higher and 60 have a lower life expectancy than the Philippines. The national budget allocates only 5.6% to the health sector, raising concerns about its sustainability. The healthcare system remains vulnerable to economic disparities and inequitable access, particularly between urban and rural areas. Gross domestic product, GDP, at purchasing power parity. This measures how much a country produces relative to the cost of living. In Philippines, the GDP is $13,000 per capita. Philippines ranks 114th out of 186 countries. The Philippines is an agricultural country producing a lot of commodities such as rice, coconuts, sugarcane, corn, bananas, and many other fruits. Coffee and livestock are also major products. Agriculture plays a crucial role in the Philippine economy, providing significant employment. However, the country is dependent on global commodity prices, and there isn't much automation on farms and smallholdings, making production very labor-intensive. Philippines comes 53rd out of 191 countries for income disparity and 16th out of 171 countries for wealth disparity. This means that there are big differences in wages between the highest and lowest paid Filipinos, and there's an incredibly huge difference in wealth between the richest and poorest Filipino families. These huge gaps in income and wealth are perpetuated by very high levels of corruption. Poverty forces many Filipinos to seek work overseas, allowing them to send surplus funds back to their families. Nonetheless, most of the work is in relatively lowly paid service jobs. Because English is one of the national languages, the country has managed to attract a lot of jobs in the business process outsourcing industry. Many call centers from companies based in English-speaking countries have recently been set up in large Philippine cities. In spite of all of this, the Philippines remains an agricultural country producing commodity products and low value-added goods. It has not been able to advance significantly in the fields of science and technology. Crime. Philippines ranks 78th out of 204 countries for homicides, making it a moderately violent country. The country has faced challenges with crime, particularly in areas with larger populations and higher unemployment. Human rights and freedoms. The Philippines ranks 110th out of 197 countries in the Human Rights Index. That means 109 countries have better human rights than the Philippines. The war on drugs led to thousands of extrajudicial killings by law enforcement officers and unidentified gunmen. Despite a decrease more recently, they continue to occur. Political activists, journalists, environmentalists, and civil society actors all face threats, harassment, and violence. Red tagging, which involves accusing individuals of being communists or sympathizers, remains a serious issue. Cases of enforced disappearances, particularly targeting activists and land rights defenders, persist. The government hasn't fully implemented laws against enforced disappearances. There's a lack of accountability for human rights abuses. The government has been reluctant to cooperate with international investigations, such as the International Criminal Court's inquiry into possible crimes against humanity committed during the war on drugs. Political violence, especially targeting local officials, has increased, particularly around election periods. Minority sexual preference groups in the Philippines face several challenges. LGBTQ+ individuals often experience discrimination in various aspects of life, including the workplace, schools, and healthcare settings. While homosexuality is not criminalized, there are no comprehensive national anti-discrimination laws protecting LGBTQ+ individuals from workplace or social discrimination. Same-sex unions are also not legally recognized. The strong influence of the Catholic Church and conservative cultural attitudes contribute to the stigmatization of non-heteronormative behaviors. This can lead to rejection by family members and communities. In fact, it's quite common to hear priests and pastors blaming gay people for causing earthquakes, floods, and volcanic eruptions. The Philippines is the 67th most corrupt nation out of 180 countries surveyed. When it comes to infrastructure, the Philippines ranked 61st out of 67 countries. This survey covered science, technology, health, the environment, and education. The Philippines faces challenges in educational achievement compared to other countries. According to various international rankings, the country often ranks lower in terms of education quality and performance. Ateneo de Manila University was ranked in the 301 to 400 range in the Times Higher Education World University Rankings of 2023. This is the highest placement ever received by a Philippine university. Public transport in the Philippines is generally quite poor. Whilst there are planes and ferries between the islands and long-distance buses between cities, a lot of the traffic inside cities is serviced by jeepneys. These are a quintessential mode of public transportation in the Philippines, known for their vibrant colors and unique designs. They were originally made from surplus military jeeps left behind by American troops after World War II, and Filipino ingenuity transformed them into mass transportation. They're extended versions of jeeps, with open windows and two long benches facing each other inside the passenger compartment. And they're generally not that comfortable. Traditional jeepneys are also criticized for their high emissions and fuel inefficiency. The condition of roads in the Philippines varies widely, with some areas experiencing significant challenges. Potholes, cracked pavements, collapsing shoulders, and faded road markings are not uncommon. Tropical Storm Christine recently rendered 20 road sections impassable due to flooding, landslides, and other issues. Due to corruption, public funds, which could have been used for repairs and maintenance, have been diverted into the pockets of politicians. Moreover, on the topic of infrastructure, in a survey regarding the quality of life, Manila came second last out of 267 world cities. The reasons for this are as follows. Manila's property price-to-income ratio is very high, making housing less affordable for many residents. Manila's safety index is also relatively low, raising concerns about crime and public safety. Traffic congestion is a significant issue, leading to long commute times, and Manila faces high levels of pollution, impacting the overall quality of life. Nor does Manila have an integrated transport network. Transferring between different modes of transport is definitely not seamless. Finally, in the latest World Happiness Report, for 2024, the Philippines ranked 53rd out of 143 countries. And there you have it. The Philippines. It's a great place to enjoy fabulous beaches whilst on holiday, but what would it be like to live and work there as a regular Filipino citizen? Other problems the country faces linked to high religiosity. Comments welcome. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you again soon.